Most people are impressed by big predators such as lions and tigers. But birds can be just as deadly and cruel. Have you ever seen a seagull on the hunt? What about a toucan? If you want to see some crazy birds in action, keep watching as we count down 15 insanely brutal moments of birds hunting their prey. Number 15. Crow. The Canada geese cob does not want their goslings to be raised on his lake. He chases them out of the water whenever he sees them. The geese can flee readily, but the goslings are unable to do so and are separated from their parents. Isolated, the goslings will not last long and will become easy prey for seagulls, herons, and crows. Because this carrion crow is unable to swim, it is rarely observed near water. It notices the swan and geese getting into a fierce argument and confidently approaches them. Even though they are much larger, the crow is not terrified of either of these birds. It is faster and more agile than they are. It stoops down and snatches a gosling out of the water while the geese are distracted, acting like an opportunist thief. The geese are startled and honk despondently, but the crow is unconcerned and flies away. The crow plucks the gosling's feathers before devouring it. This crow is roaming around a tiny squirrel, and when the crow touches the squirrel, the little rodent plays dead, rolling on his back, motionless. The crow isn't convinced and still pecks at the squirrel, who jumps up, startled by the pecks. Hopefully, the squirrel makes it. A crow comes down on a tiny rabbit. The rabbit avoids the worst at first, but the crow eventually lands on the fluffy bunny and takes off with it. Another crow has caught a bunny and is biting into the rabbit's head. The rabbit can't escape as the crow tries to kill it. The crow eventually kills the rabbit and eats its meal. Number 14. Greater cowquills hunting snake. These two greater cowquills find a snake on the side of the road and attack it. Both birds attack the head of the snake, but the snake manages to pull away for a moment before the final blow is delivered by the birds. A greater cowquill attacks a cobra in a backyard, and the cobra doesn't seem interested at all in fighting the aggressive bird. He tries to hide wherever he can, but the bird insists and continues to annoy the snake. This cowquill seems to be dancing with the tiny cobra. Once again, the bird is the instigator, and it's obvious why after the cowquill grabs the cobra and kills it. This greater cowquill has hunted some goodies to bring back to the nest to feed its offspring. It looks like it's a tiny lizard, but it should do for now. The greater cowquill, also known as the crow pheasant, is a non-parasitic member of the Cuculiformes order of birds. It is a common resident in Asia, ranging from India to southern China and Indonesia. There are several subspecies, some of which are considered full species. It can be found in a variety of habitats. Number 13. Heron. There is a nest nearby for this gray heron and two hungry babies to feed. He loves to stand in shallow water and wait for a fish to swim past, but he lacks the patience to do so today. His youngsters are hungry, and he has discovered an orphaned gosling. He takes a seat on a park bench to get a better look and waits for it to approach him, but it appears to be going away. He swoops down and lunges at it before it gets too far away, and he pulls it out of the water with little difficulty. Watch how skilled this heron is when it snatches a squirrel from the ground and swallows it whole. These birds are more dangerous than snakes. Herons also prey on field voles like the heron in this video. I guess whatever they see on the ground is food for the taking. Well, what do you know? A heron took a walk on the beach and found a stingray. The heron was in the mood of some seafood, so it didn't hesitate. But for some reason, once it had the stingray in its mouth, it decided to drop it and forget about eating it. This heron targets something a little more exotic and rarer, an eel. It's also slightly more slippery, and you can see the heron is having trouble bringing the eel up to its mouth to swallow it. After a few attempts, the heron finally succeeds. Weasels are usually the ones on the hunt, but this time the weasel meets his match when it encounters a heron. The heron surgically grabs the weasel and easily kills it before swallowing it whole. Look at how fast this heron grabs a small bunny from the ground. The bunny hangs from the heron's beak, begging for mercy, but it's just a matter of time before the heron swallows the fluffy rabbit. Number 12. Blue jay. A blue jay attacks a sparrow close to a sidewalk. The sparrow is much smaller than the blue jay, so it doesn't have much of a chance of escaping. Another blue jay attacks and kills a sparrow in a residential neighborhood. This blue jay grabs a sparrow and assaults it on a tree. Once again, the sparrow has no chance of surviving the attack. A blue jay launches aerial attacks against a raccoon, but it looks like the raccoon doesn't even feel them. The raccoon got too close to the blue jay's nest, hence the reason why the blue jay is being aggressive with the raccoon. This is a close-up of a blue jay intimidating and then pursuing a red-shouldered hawk, the top of the backyard food chain. The blue jays are backyard superheroes, flaring every feather on their bodies to appear larger and holding their beak wide open to appear more deadly. They are a sight to behold in slow motion as they attack the hawk and then flee. Blue jays are nesting right now, they're vigilant. They also serve as a helpful warning system for all the other backyard critters, particularly the squirrels. Because it happened so quickly, the videographer slowed it down at the end of the video. The baby bird that gets swooped away in the end is the one who wasn't fed at first and was stepped on by the mama bird while she was nursing the others, which is bad foreshadowing. I had to look up whether blue jays do things like this, or if the guy was just filming the neighborhood's one psycho jay. Blue jays, it turns out, do snare and eat newborn birds. However, the Cornell Lab of Ornithology says this is a rare occurrence. Over the course of 2 to 3 days, the jay killed all 3 baby birds. Empty nest syndrome to say the least. Number 11. Vultures eating carcass. This was taken in southwest Florida. Driving down a country road, people saw a bunch of turkey vultures eating a wild pig. It was fascinating to watch, but the odor wasn't very pleasant. When these vultures found an almost intact pig, they are in for a treat. The vultures do their thing and clean up the pigs like pros. After the hunts, the vulture cleanup crew flies in to demolish what's left of a red stag in Portugal. These are griffon vultures, and they are highly efficient scavengers. Vultures are always ready to clean up another animal's mess. They patrol the skies looking for remains and carcasses at all times of the day. This time, a huge elephant carcass is on the menu. There isn't much left of this wildebeest, and that's exactly when the specialists come into the picture and clean up the area. Vultures are extremely useful against the spread of disease. Number 10. Skua hunting penguin chicks. These 2 skuas have snatched a baby penguin and are literally murdering it. An older penguin, probably the mom, tries scaring off the skuas, but it doesn't work. This skua nibbles on the back of the nesting penguin until it raises itself, allowing it to trap and swallow the chicks whole. This skua kidnaps a baby penguin and takes it a few feet away to kill it. The penguin mother goes to save her child, but the skuas warn her to mind her business. She screams and sobs and tells them this is her business. But alas, she has no other choice but to watch helplessly. On New Zealand's sub-Antarctic Campbell Island, a brown skua outmaneuvers an incubating female eastern rockhopper penguin and snatches one of her 2 eggs. These seabird predators, known as skuas, prey on other seabirds' prey, including chicks and even puffins. The same skua's eggs and chicks are targeted by ravens. Isn't it wonderful that the environment has been preserved in this way? Number 9. Seagulls. While this pigeon was attending the Cannes Film Festival, it got into an argument with the seagull about one of the films. The seagull asked the pigeon to step outside, and a scuffle between the 2 birds broke out. The pigeon was no match for the seagull, and when a lady tried to intervene, the seagull took off with the pigeon in its mouth. Feeling the pressure from onlookers, the seagull moved to a more discreet location. Another pigeon is getting a beating from a seagull in this video. The seagull keeps biting and pecking at the pigeon and practically demolishing the bird in minutes. Unlike the heron and the crow, who both like to have their feet on the ground when catching their meal, this lesser black-backed gull is at home in the water. These seagulls are constantly circling the lake. They are continually attempting to snare a duckling or gosling during the spring, and they are great at it. The fact that they were able to swallow the gosling whole is surprising. This seagull targets a small squirrel and violently attacks, but the squirrel is feisty and fights hard, but the seagull still kills it and swallows it whole. Number 8. Chukar partridge. Pheasants, grouse, and quail are all linked to the chukar partridge, which is a gallinaceous game bird. Even though this chicken is much bigger, the chukar partridge is not afraid, and he is actually the aggressor in what looks like a friendly fight. These 2 are best friends and live together, so what you are seeing in this video is an everyday routine the 2 birds enjoy. They play like this all day long. Once again, These two are enjoying a day of fun and activities as they get to play outside in the safety of their backyard. I never thought two birds could have so much fun. Number 7. Magpies. In what appears to be a park, a magpie attacks a baby bird. The little bird has no defense and is easily killed by the magpie. After a collared dove laid an egg in her nest, the next day a couple of magpies decided to attack the nest, but the dove was standing guard and defending her home. A magpie attacks a dove in flight in this video. The dove manages to escape with a few less feathers on its body. This magpie reaches out to the sky to snatch a hawfinch and kills it. The hawfinch is much smaller, and the magpie has a field day with the small bird. A rat is eating what looks like a dead bird, but when some magpies come and check out the merchandise, they harass the rat and force it to leave. The rat resists and doesn't leave immediately, but when the bird insists, he has no other choice. Number 6. Lapwings. A group of red wattled lapwings is defending its nest from an Indian monitor lizard that has wandered into it. They puff themselves up, oblivious to their own safety in the hopes of scaring the predator away. This heron gets too close to some lapwing chicks and is being asked kindly to leave by the adults. The lapwings are flying close to the heron, threatening it, but the heron isn't fazed one bit. A conflict between a yellow wattled lapwing and a rat snake can be seen in this video, when the snake tries to eat the lapwing's eggs. The lapwings fought valiantly, but they were no match for the snake. Number 5. Woodpeckers. In some earlier videos, we have seen the blue jay kill smaller birds, but when the blue jay goes face to face with the woodpecker, the game is different and it's the blue jay that takes a beating. A pair of mourning dove babies fall prey to a bloodthirsty Gila woodpecker in Tucson, Arizona. It's sad to see a couple of defenseless birds just absorbing all the shots and not being able to retaliate. This woodpecker breaks into this house, and it's not to steal anything. He pulls out a baby bird and kills it. I guess the baby's parents were not home when this happened. Number 4. Harpy eagle. The harpy is a powerful bird of prey that can kill and carry a monkey back to its nest. The raising of their young is very demanding. They require a lot of food and care before they can be on their own 2 years from now. That's a long time, but their parents regularly bring them monkeys and sloths to eat. You can see the harpy go for the kill when it clobbers one of the tiny monkeys despite their warning call. The harpy has a nest in a dead Brazil nut tree. His partner and chick are looking forward to his return. Despite their small size, harpies are the most fearsome eagles, feasting on monkeys and tree sloths. The male's job is finished once he has delivered his kill. Even though both parents bring food to the nest, only the mother feeds the 2-month-old chick. Everything except the bones is consumed, including the skin. Nothing is thrown away here. This mother harpy is checking up on her chicks to make sure they are okay and getting everything they need. We can see how nurturing and caring the harpy mom is with her babies. When a harpy eagle flies by and snatches it in midair without blinking, it's clear that these sloths must always be on the lookout for an attack. Number 3. Myna. This myna is attacked by a chakra and a tedar, and one of the birds flips it over. A man assists the bird to get back up, and it immediately heads for the other birds to continue the fight. These mynas are involved in a royal rumble, but the problem is there is no referee, so the birds fight without any rules or restraints, and it is all-out war against a crow. 2 mynas attack a chameleon, but the chameleon is tough and will not be an easy kill for the birds, who seem to realize this as they slowly abandon the fight. Number 2. Toucans. This toucan is on the hunt for a parrot, and it just grabbed one. Its friend asked him if he wants to share, but the toucan turns away with the parrot because he wants it all to himself. Toucans are often thought of as friendly fruit eaters, but they are omnivorous and quite aggressive. Onlooker saw a toucan kill and eat a bat while on a birdwatching tour at Playa Cativa Lodge in Costa Rica. Toucans are also carnivorous, which many people are unaware of. Here, we see one of Ripley's wild cousins following in its ancestors' footsteps by raiding a nest and devouring someone else's babies whole. I guarantee you'll never look at toucans the same way again. When a Q hummingbird tries to extract the nectar from these flowers, the toucan grabs and crushes it. You can see how small the bird is in the toucan's mouth. Number 1. Jackdaws. Here's a jackdaw biting into a small snake. It takes the jackdaw a lot of pecks to soften up the snake so he can eat it. The snake doesn't have the time to escape because the bird is pecking at it relentlessly. After a jackdaw and a hawk collide, a fight ensues. The hawk appears to have the upper hand for the duration of the fight, but when the jackdaw fights back, he's able to flee, and the hawk doesn't appear to be in great shape. On the sidewalk, a jackdaw attacks a rat. The rat tries to flee, but the jackdaw drags it by the tail to get closer to it. It's amusing, but I'm sure the rat doesn't appreciate it. When this jackdaw sees this sparrow, it has no pity for it. It immediately jumps it and plucks it to death. After seeing this, I'm sure you perceive birds differently. My favorite has to be the jackdaw knocking out the hawk in midair. Which one was your favorite? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Well, that's our countdown of 15 insanely brutal moments of birds hunting their prey. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. That's it for now.